Who is the coolest person in the world?
Oh yeah. Do you want to ask that question, or is it too?
It's a question I'm asked every time, but I never know the answer. So
It's dynamic.
it is. Well, I think for my quest in teaching the How to Be Cool class is to make cool relevant to everybody and everyday life.
Yeah.
So we know what it is for a film star to be cool, but we're not film stars, right?
Yeah.
So how are we cool in our own life? So what's the cool way to be a parent or be a good colleague or a good teacher or whatever it is? And there is a cool way of doing it, and it's understanding. I think I want people to challenge the idea that cool is somehow exclusive and elite and inaccessible. And say, well, no, there's a way of living your life that is timely and effortless, which is the elements I think that make up cool. And you can be as cool as you need to be in your life. And the grown-up thing to do, because I'm quite interested in the idea of cool for grown-ups, because it tends to be an obsessional kind of teenage 20-something thing. That cool for grown-ups is I think one of the great advantages of growing up and being in your 30s or 40s is you stop giving a toss, which is actually very cool. Right? So, and it's celebrating that. Because I think I tend to, when people ask me who the coolest person is, I often mention Melvin Bragg, because I think he's dead cool. But he's what, in his late 70s? He might even be 80 now. So, yeah, he always seems completely on top of everything he's doing, suave and elegant, up with it. So, I think there are some really great kind of older examples or kind of people being really cool, and I'd like to see those celebrated a bit more often, really. So.
How would you define the complete opposite to being cool? Like some people say, give software engineers a hard time, the kind of computer geeky fellas, but other people, like within their own subculture, might think those people are cool themselves. Yeah. So, like, without trying to slip into postmodernism here or anything, is like in going back to what you were saying earlier on about universalities, is do you think there's something like, say, Kant's categorical imperative that we could actually say, kind of come up with some sort of objective definition?
Yeah, no, I think that's you've hit on a very interesting point. Within your group, right? So being cool within your group seems important to people. So I often, when we talk about who's cool downstairs, because we get a kind of Guardian reading demographic down here, David Cameron never counts as cool. But I do wonder if amongst like young Tories, he is as cool as they come, right? So you have to think, if a group self-selects to regard someone as cool, whether they are still uncool within broader society. And that's a kind of interesting challenge. I'm sure they're like the leader of the pack amongst neo-Nazis probably counts as cool amongst them, but neo-Nazis are not cool because because they're bastards, right? So there's an interesting question of what group you're obliged to contrast people against for their seeking. Now, I take a kind of Aristotelian view, so it's general prevalent human virtues, which is why neo-Nazis fail, because they fail on so many of those basic virtues of generosity and kindness and openness and all those things. So being cool within your group is just cheating. You've got to be cool against. There is a more absolute judgment. So I think there's an interesting, by and large, leading a good life, but leading it elegantly is what cool's about. It tends to be a fusing of the moral and the aesthetic. So just the aesthetic is not enough. I know lots of fashion magazines do present just an aesthetic of cool, but without any kind of moral weight. But if you're a total cock and you have the look, then you're still just a total cock in the right clothes. So it's leading the right life and doing it in the right way. And in fact, there's some the kind of more academic theories of cool, which connect it to like the struggle against the black struggle against oppression in the America in the 20th century, or I mean that's definitely very much a more morally and politically engaged. Well, so when Rosa Parks goes and sits at the back of a bus in Alabama, and she keeps her cool, and she doesn't provoke a fight, but she submits to what will happen to her because of the consequence. It's a very cool moment, I think, something like that. And obviously that's a deeply moral and politically charged act. It's just that we live in a world where it's all just trainers and flippant stuff, because we don't know, because we don't really, by and large, in our lives have any real stuff to kick against. So, but if we did, there would be a cool way to do it. So.
It's a very interesting way of looking at it. And just so anyone who's watching, if you want to get in contact with the School of Life, or to get more information, or to follow one of these excellent courses, what should people do?
They can look at our website. We have just our premises down in Marchmont Street at the moment in London, so that's where you come for classes, which are most nights of the week, but the website has a full schedule. They're £30 a pop.
It's very good value.
Which I regard as excellent value for your 2.5 hours learning. And if there's a big enough group of you, I think you can book us. We go on tour for you if you have the money. So things can be done. But have a look at the website and come on down. We'd love to see you.
Listen, Nick, thanks very much. It's been extremely interesting talking to you, and best of luck with your course.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a million for doing that. Cheers.
Thanks very much.
Yeah, you spoke very well. You can obviously tell you're a professional.